Welcome one, welcome all to the OG Jazzy Jeff broadcast. Early mornings with. There's only one place in all of Azeroth. You'll hear this type of commentary, see this caliber of gameplay, and listen to this smooth music. So if you like what you're seeing, consider dropping a follow, because the content will only get better from here, folks. So sit back, relax, grab that popcorn, get yourself a drink. When you're watching OG Daddy Jeff, one thing's for certain, that you are in for a bumpy ride. So without further ado, let the show continue.
Welcome to the 3 vs 3 semifinals and finals Twinking tournament, El Clásico de Finals. Let's go, baby! All right, round one's going to get started here.
Round 2. Fight.
Mage is rushing to this corner here in the lobby. They're not looking to, looks like I'm going to guess they're not going to let that rogue pass. Looks like they're not going to go with that flame strike strategy on the door that we've seen, though, previously.
Yeah, playing safe here right now, getting in the mood. Oof, that gets me going every single time. Love the camera follow feature. Here we're just seeing we just see the Voidwalker actually go down there. So that's actually, oh, they did sacrifice it. So they felt that it was imperative enough for them to sacrifice. The Warrior's going to charge in here. The Psychic Stream comes out. It's going to land on a couple of players right now. The Mage and the Warlock, it looks like it is actually going to stick on as they get feared into the other room. Lore gonna get charged on.
Opening over here, and Wally immediately charges over here to fear on him. But Drew, he pops a will after he gets feared, and he hops right back on power. Grizzle's landing that fear though on Drew.
Plants feeling vulnerable right now as the sheep goes down onto Drew. Wall gets feared as well, and he's not going to get dispelled. There's not in a position to dispel because the sheep comes out onto Plants, which heals him up. The gouge coming down onto Nev, seeing him just for a little bit. Drew does pop that sprint. It's going to get dispelled here, and we do see a secondary sheep that gets trinketed really quickly. Nev down to about half HP. They're kind of getting kited outside right now.
Yeah, they're taking this fight outside. They say, we want to do this in the open field.
Hey, I'll take it. The camera likes it as well. Grizzle kind of going back with his team. You're seeing this soft reset right now. These teams are looking for the drink. They're looking for the bandage plays if they're able to.
Coming back out. You can tell it's smart for from around the world to be trying to play this outside. Of course, they want to play in the open field. They have the Mage and the Warlock. They don't want the other teams to be dominating those corners with LOS.
And it was hard to say which team had any sort of advantage there. The Warlock really loves this reset. Being able to get that sacrifice out is going to be huge. That should be up now.
Drew's sneaking out here. He's looking for the sap, but they catch him out. I think they had perception popped, and they were ready for that one.
That's huge. He might get a soft reset again, but I don't think this Grizzle's teams is gonna allow for it here. They're gonna go back in. We're seeing those multi-dots going out, which is gonna the Warlock pretty quickly here. They try to get out the fear. It's not going to land here. Drew really wants a re-stealth, but he has 22 seconds on Agony. Look at the flame strike. Wonderful.
Great flame strike.
Forcing them back, forcing them to just continue to push backwards and look for some level of safety for themselves. They want another reset. Right now, they have the upper hand.
Grizzle's doing a great job just pushing and making sure he's throwing curses on them so they're not getting dispelled. They're not getting easy bandages and easy resets off, trying to keep them in combat.
Wow, he's
doing a great job pushing and playing aggressively.
That Voidwalker went down so quickly there. They didn't even have a chance to sacrifice it. I understand why they preemptively sacked so early on because that is squishy.
And looking for the sap again here.
If he can get it, that's huge.
They're entering combat. They're not going to let that happen just now. He needs to open.
Wall is just getting eaten apart right now. Are we going to see a fear onto the priest? They line of sight. No, but it hits. But they use Will of Forsaken to get out of it quickly. There's the Frostbolt onto Wall here as he tries to kite away. He's trying to get some level of safety back at the LOS. And Drew does get sheeped here.
Poly and Fear combo. Look at Power LOL just hiding behind this tree. He says, don't pay attention to me. Just let me heal and dispel my team from back here.
And he hasn't really been messed with a lot of this. The pressure hasn't really been on him. He's been able to play that supportive role that he's meant to play here. LOS back inside of the building here as the charge comes down onto Grizzle. Chunking them for about 20%, but no big deal. They can get the reset off. Lots of LOS here. Neither team wants to fully commit to this. We are seeing the Summon Voidwalker coming out once again. just interrupting it as much as they can with the wand and things like that.
Oh, they don't let the cast get off. He was nearly done there.
I think the wand unconsciously debated him. He thought it'd be done by then, but it knocked him back just a little bit. He's getting those multi-dots down, but luckily his mana total, it's going down pretty quick, honestly. He's going to have to life tap and consider a bandage before too long.
Look at how they're double committing CC onto one person, so they have a longer time trying to get that off instead of putting down a Fear and a Poly on 2 separate people. They're just saying, we're just going to put both on you guys and have fun dispelling both of them while we try and chip on somebody else. You can see Grizzle's starting to run here. Not too big a deal because he has life tap, but and his priest is also a pretty good mana. But these guys are both playing this very defensively, and neither team really wants to budge. You can see from around the world saying, no, we're playing outside, and the New Yorkers here are saying, no, we're going to use these corners.
Yeah. Coming outside. Grizzle getting low. Overextended just a little bit. An executable range. The Voidwalkers, the Power Shield's going to come down. The Fear does afterwards. They are going to get Psychic Streamed as well, and that's going to fade. They're trying to get a Fear of their own. Here goes the Fear onto Drew. The dots are on him. They're going to use Will of Forsaken, get out of it immediately. Polymorph looking for a Polymorph. There's the Fear onto Wall as well. The rank 1 Frostbolt goes down just to slow him. The hamstring is on Nev as well. Both casters about 70% HP. Wall in a vulnerable position. He needs some support. Plants in the back line right now.
Plants is running out of mana here. He's nearly 20%. Looks like he's going to try and get a drink off inside.
And he is going to be able to, but his team is going to start to get pressured. Grizzle looking to actually stop him, but there's too much from Wall coming out right now. They stop the drink. They put down some dots onto Plants. Plants is at half HP right now. Both healers at about half mana. Plants at the back foot on mana.
For a sap back here.
Ooh, double Psychic Stream, the old Cali special, if you will. Grizzle is 79% HP.
It's the snap on power. He was so patient, and he was standing right on top of him.
Oh, there it is, baby. The sap. That's what we need to see. Nev is getting low. He doesn't have that support. An executable range. Low gets out of it. The heal is coming out at 1% HP. Can they heal him? There's the heal. The charge goes down onto Nev afterwards, but they are feeling so pressured right now. If they can interrupt the heal onto Lollywop or get a CC on him or get the execute off, and boom goes the dynamite. One player goes down, and Grizzle is feeling pressured right now and are about to follow their teammate to the graveyard.
Wicked sick.
GG.
Double kill.
The first round going to them here. Going to team. This is going to be Team New Yorkers coming out with the win here in this best of 5 series. It's the 3 vs 3 El Clásico semifinals finals tournament here.
What a great. I think that we're gonna see a lot more defensive play. I think we're gonna see, I think we're gonna see them play that pretty similarly in these future rounds. Drew got that huge sap on power. He was standing very, very close to power. I'm surprised if power didn't see him or throw a dot or wand on him to, 1, keep himself in combat, but 2, to get the rogue out of stealth right next to him. But once he landed that sap, that round was over.
It was. We were seeing really good use of the CC. You mentioned at one point the layers CC we were seeing come down frequently, and it was causing for it took 3 or 4 dispels to get the poor warrior out of all the CCs. You're seeing Fear, Sheeps go down onto the warrior, rank 1 Frostbolt. It's every dot in the a basic corruption, and it's this priest in the backline just dispelling. And it was just so much to fucking dispel in the end that it ultimately didn't spell defeat for him, but they were able to overcome that and still take the W despite all those layers of CC being put down on the warrior. But really fun to see that from our caster composition, and I think that's how they got to play. And honestly, the play of the game, I think, in my opinion, for that first game is goes to Drew with that sap, with that patient play, being able to sap the healer so they could out pressure the casters. It was tremendous in that first round.
Yeah, that was most definitely the play of the game. That was a huge clutch play by Drew and really sealed it up. We couldn't, both of these teams were just committed to their trenches and where they wanted to play. And Drew was the difference maker in that one.
And you're seeing here as well the shift in where they start. So this will be interesting to see. Did they shift where they started actually? Yeah, I think they did. Yeah.
Yeah, they swapped. Hey, if you could try and add to the scoreboard here, just 1 point for the New Yorkers.
Oh, good call. Let's see if I can do that here. Awesome. Hey, it worked. I wasn't sure how it would work out, but that's very fluid, honestly. I think that adds a lot to it.
I can't see it on my screen. No big deal, but that means you are the gatekeeper of the score, just in case I lose track. But I'll be doing my best to keep track anyway.
Yeah, that sounds good, mate. I'll try to keep track on the old scoreboard here as we look to move forward to the next match. Now we're gonna be looking for the sap from the rogue once again, but he does have some opposition. He can't just necessarily do that willy-nilly. He does have two humans that he's up against right now, from Nev LOL and LOL Rewap. And so he's got to be careful of those perceptions, and they might stagger him as well. He's got to play patiently, where he almost gives them opportunity to press to use that button. It's not the most visual of animations. In fact, it might not even have an animation if I'm not mistaken. So they can really hold on to that if they want to. That's going to be the decisions they need to make, or when they pop the perceptions, and are they going to take those opportunities to get aggressive? Are they going to try to get into combat right away? That's something you see a lot of the time, where if we saw something as simple as Renews coming down onto the Warlock and the Warlock corrupts one of them, boom, both of them are pulled down and pulled into combat. You can't get sapped. And I don't know if I see enough of that sometimes, where players almost force themselves into some light level of combat, whether it's with like a rank 1 dot, rank 1 heal, or something, so they're not as susceptible to the saps. And I think that's going to be important going into this matchup versus this rogue.
Drew was playing the beginning of last round very patiently. He was digging around in lobby, trying to get around the back lines. He waited a pretty fair amount of time before he decided to open, and it looked like he was trying to find a cheeky early sap. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to find that on these guys, though, because they did appear to be throwing dots, and they seemed to have a sense that, hey, the rogue is not around us, and they were just throwing wands, and I saw dots going out. I think they were just trying to keep themselves in combat, and I think that they were aware of the rogue in their area. But I'm kind of curious to see if Drew's going to take his time and play really slowly around this corner ahead of him to start this round. Or I'm kind of interested to see if Nev is going to go back to that flame strike strategy that we've seen in earlier rounds, right on this door to start the round here.
Yeah, and you're seeing the mage kind of go with the int enchant, which I think is a lot more common in a lot of ways. And we're seeing two of our players on the right hand side. They might try to take the upper balcony approach perhaps here. Maybe they just want to start here as they go downwards towards, and that's not a bad idea to nosedive on them. Now they're still going to kind of have an understanding that that's their strategy with health bars and everything else, and they may opt out of that at the end. But I do like that we see the int enchant on minimally the healer and the mage, just because they want to, as long as they can cast, they're happy. They don't really need that 30 spell power. Whereas the Warlock has life tap. They're not as pressed for the mana pool as these other players, especially when Rune Bandage heals them fully. They can life tap fully, bandage fully. They don't even need their healer as long as they're line of sighting. You're more allowed to have things like the spell power enchant versus int.
Yeah, that too. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Boner.
They're ready for game 2. I'm doing the countdown.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, best about to get round 2 going here underway.
So we're 1-0 here to the New Yorkers, entering round 2 in our best of 5 in the semifinals here for El Clásico.
Yeah, if there's any streamers that are currently streaming this, feel free to let us know in the chat as well if anyone wants to see from their player perspective. We also have Fortitude, my co-casters, streaming as well, so don't be shy to link your favorite streamers that are in this tournament that might be playing in the chat. I'm sure people might want to check them out. And now this next duel is underway.
I do believe we have a Warlock in the next round, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Nev is running and just arcane explosioning that corner. He's putting himself in combat with Wally right away.
Yeah, looking to not get sapped right now. Maybe even popping the perception potentially here. I almost want to turn on my enemy cooldown timer just to be able to check for that, to see if they had popped that perception already. Because once again, it's not the most visual of spells, so you kind of gotta, not.
Nev's perception just wore off now.
Okay, so Nev's perception's up. Let's see if we end up seeing a second one cycled in from LOL Rewap here. If they could find that rogue, it'd be big. The rogue's playing safe, though. I actually want to camera over to Drew here to see how he plays this one out. Playing in the back line here. Not looking to get found with perception. Trying to play safe. Look at these teams, how safe they're playing. I want to see where Plants is as well. All of them in a different corner right now. The Warlock Pet's going into wall.
Drew's looking for that sap. Both of their perceptions are off, and they're looking for it now. But everyone's entering combat, and they're saying, "I'm not trying to get sap now that our perceptions are gone."
Yeah, and he it would have been close, maybe being able to get on the priest with the sap, but I think they were brought in combat with the renew at that point. I don't think there was any hope for a sap, so it just opens up and it works out all right. It does have double life stealing, so they're going for that sustained composition. The warrior's going for the fiery for that extra rage, going to do extra damage to give him that, thus give him the extra rage while kind of going forward. The fear comes down on him and starts to get fully dotted up right now, but they still have plenty of support once they go in this back room. The gouge comes down onto the warlock, just buying him some time. There's a double frost nova. Oh, that's nice. That's good CC. These dots are ticking away. You see the agony. You see the corruption. There's no decurse on this team, so you can't get rid of that agony. It's always going to have full effect, which is going to be a powerful dot that really ramps up with that damage because it is a longer dot as well. And you even see the detect magic on two of these players. Plants been this speaks volumes for how safe Plants has been playing with the line of sight. He doesn't have detect magic on him, and Evo is trying to get detect magic on him, and which is nice. There's arcane explosion. If we can miss AoE these melees, that is huge for this caster composition. One thing to know.
See, the casters are trying to drag them outside, but the New Yorkers are definitely trying to keep this between the flag room and lower here, and not between the lobby and outside this time. They're trying to force that inside, so they have more favorable LOS. I think that's really smart of them. You can see they're just trying to force it inside. Plants is favoring that window room. He's feared in the back right now, but that's where he's been playing this whole round out of.
Yeah, you have those different approaches are definitely clear, and we're seeing the polymorph coming down onto Drew once again. Wall is starting to feel pressured right now. He has the full dots on him. He's going back to Plants is now poly. That is huge. This is their kill window. If they can kill one of these melee.
Plants 10 seconds on his poly. Plants trinkets out of that poly. He's got the big heal coming to help his friend here.
There we go, and he needed it. He was getting very low. Drew is not feeling really vulnerable. The fear goes down onto our Tauren friend. They're going to get dispelled of everything. Wow, really quickly. Fast dispels right there. They put the hamstring on to Nev. Nev's starting to feel the heat. Down to half HP. LOL rewap. Getting kind of low on mana. Not tied with Plants. In the executable range, getting low. They're at 50%, trying to get the poly off. It's going to get interrupted with the gouge. LOL rewap is getting low on mana. The fear comes down. It's going to fade because of the damage ticks. The sheep comes down onto Drew. Going to get dispelled. Wall getting low as well. Trinkets out of the Frost Nova.
Out from Plants. Plants moved up from the window room, says he wants to play the door now from flag room into lobby. This fight's starting to move outside. Spacebar, the New Yorkers here might not want to take the cheddar and keep that fight what's working for them inside, but you can see that from around the world's casters are running Power LOL is completely and Grizzle's nearly there as well.
And now we're seeing Plants start to come outside finally. He's trying to get some sunlight here as they use the LOS. Waj at 50% HP. Drew does get hit with the polymorph going to get dispelled. Grizzle on the back foot right now. Grizzlefoot on the back foot right now. You use the Voidwalker sacrifice. Down to about 40% HP. Probably going to need to consider using the life tap here. Wall is getting low as well though. Plants has full mana though. But LOL Rewap does not, and they're getting very low. I'm worried about this caster composition.
Finish him.
And he is going to go down here, but Tank is getting low too. If they could get a finisher, this would be huge. But Plants has full mana. Well, he has plenty, not full mana, but he has plenty of mana. 1/3 mana, maybe 1/5 mana, but still enough mana to finish off this second round and take the W, which will be the second one in the series.
And that is 2-0 now for the New Yorkers, and I have to say Plants played this round as well as he could have. He was playing that window room and definitely trying to keep himself separated. When this fight went outside and they had from around the world on the run while their casters were running Nev was trying to poly Plants on the corner, and we saw them doing that little poly dance, and he wasn't letting that happen, and he helped his team in a big way on this one.
Damn, these players have so much life, but you barely notice it when the life tap comes out. You gotta love the full enchants. And this is one thing that I'm worried about for our caster composition. If these games, the longer these games go, I think the tougher time they're gonna have, because you do have two physical DPS dealers here on the side on the New Yorkers side. And so they're going to have longer sustained damage, and they only have to depend on Plants drinking, and they can do that pretty easily on the back line as they in between heals while they're line of sighting, whereas these two casters are constantly weaving in spells, and if they want to get damage out, they're not necessarily drinking up. I guess what is the solution at that point? If you're playing for the long game, do you need to find more opportunities for drinks? Do you need to just get aggressive right away so you can actually put a win on the board? Do you just go in there and don't allow for a sap and get a sheep off on this healer, get a sheep off onto Plants? The thing is, Plants is playing very defensively, line of sighting very carefully, making sure that they don't get isolated for a sap. And Or sorry, isolated for a sheep rather. And these two melees are protecting him with these interrupts, with the gouge, with the basics that they have, the kick, to not allow for the sheep. If Nev overcommits and tries to go in for the sheep and they go in too deep, they very well might die. The Plants is playing well to not get sheeped right now, and that's the win condition.
One thing that I see that's pretty huge that's helping the New Yorkers out here is they seem to be they have a starting strategy and then they have a long game strategy, and their starting strategy is to play slow. They're letting them blow their perceptions. They're trying to get their sap off, trying to get a sap off, but once they open, it turns into Drew and Wally playing aggressively while Plants tries to keep that distance. And they're doing a really great job of letting Plants separate. Plants isn't letting a poly land on him. He's always sticking near a corner, and he's doing what he can. And Drew and Wally are doing a great job pressing the gas onto their priest and their warlock while Plants is keeping their mage busy.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Maybe something we need to see is just the priest to rocket boots in and throw a triple psychic stream down and allow for Nev to get in there and sheep the priest's Plants in order for them to just nuke down one player.
Just as a note, rocket boots are not permitted in this tournament. They're a banned item from this as well as Swift Pots, and Psychic Scream at the rank at level 19 has a max target cap of 2.
Wow, I didn't know that about Psychic Scream, mate. The more you learn about twinking, you know, I am newer to the 19 twinking brackets. You know, some of those things come with time. I gotta say, I think it could be interesting to see how Rocket Boots and Swiftness Potions play out. But good to correct me in this format. That's not something we're gonna be seeing. What are your thoughts? Would you think that'd be something to be interesting to check out in future endeavors?
It could be fun. It is definitely something that could be fun. I know in the 10v10 scene, it's people are really big on no Swift Pots, no Rocket Boots, and pretty much heavily depending on things without that nature. Even no bombs of any kind, because gnomes have portable bronze mortar, which is an instant throw, 2-second stun, whereas every other race has to stand 2 seconds, stand for a second and a half to get a stun in. So there's some discrepancies between the Alliance and the Horde, but hey man, there's racials that certain factions have that other factions don't. And if someone were to hold a say no limits tournament, if you will, I think that the community would have some fun with that too.
I wouldn't mind seeing some of the creative things coming out, those expensive items or those expensive consumes.
We'd see some magic dust. We'd see
Both teams are ready.
Sounds good.
Great. We'd see some synced bombs, I'll tell you that much.
That would be fun to see it in this format. Who knows? Maybe in the future. As someone that chugs quickness, swiftness potions, I'm never opposed to something like that. But we are moving on to round 3 in the semifinals here.
We have 2-0 here for the New Yorkers in this best of 5 series. They have a chance. This could be a match. This is a match point scenario for them.
Yeah, this is from all around the world versus New Yorkers. Let's see if it can go to best of 5 here. Or if this is going to be the last game. This is potentially match point.
And this is an international bout. We have from around the world rocking the EU, repping the EU, and we have the New Yorkers repping, I suppose, New York right now. But you can see Nev is running up to that corner. I'm interested. Oh man, he is just putting himself in combat. Looks like he's going to hop right in there.
Yeah, wants to just doesn't want to get sapped, and they had an opportunity to get Drew out. I didn't catch how they got Drew out if he was just showing himself, but Drew has a dot on him.
I think they perceptioned and ran up to the door there, and I think he fire blasted him the second that he saw him.
Ooh, I would have loved to see the Voidwalkers finish. It's not going to finish. The fear comes down. They're going for a secondary cast. Are they going to get it? Not Drew looking for a sap. Is going to get caught out with the Arcane Explosion right now. Trying to close the distance onto the Warlock. They do stop the Voidwalker Sacrifice from coming out with the Gouge. And now they are going to try to just go on to the healer who has the power shield on himself. But the healer is getting pressured by these two melee. So much damage.
Here on Wally there.
Here's the secondary sheep. Lolly getting very low. They want to finish this one fast. They say, hey, we have games to lose right now. Let's just get aggressive. Let's try something new. One tick advantage comes down, gets him to half HP. Psychic String comes down into Nev. They're going to shrink it out of it. There's the charge on him. Lollywop. Are they going to get finished? There's the War Stop, and there's the kill.
Fatality.
The double Frost Nova. Damn, these melee got so aggressive. They took a risk. They went with a different battle strategy here. and it paid off for him. You know what I just noticed as well? This is brand new. This wasn't working in War Games for me until today. But did you notice game sounds are working in War Games?
I don't think that's been an issue for me.
Really, that's been a continuous issue for me on the. Funnily enough, in the 60 bracket, part of me was like now questioning myself. What sort of issue was that? Was that from this? Is that 60 bracket only, or is there some sort of variable that's allowing me to have sound now versus before? Whatever the case, I am happy that I have those in-game sounds because that is crucial. I feel like to the player or to the viewer experience. Yeah.
Well, oh baby, a triple. That is a clean sweep. Is that did they have a death in this match?
No, that was clean. It was clean, and they even went confidently in with a different, more aggressive strategy, knowing that they had already taken 2 games. And they could lose one and they'd be fine. They tried something different. It was a much more aggressive line of play, and it paid off for them. Just charging into that room and training the priest, not really giving him an opportunity to get off of that back foot that they found themselves on when that game started. And I like the aggressive approach, and I respect the fact they played more defensive the first couple. You're playing for the win at the end of the day, but when it's the victory is that close in sight, and you do have wiggle room. I like that they switched it up and got greedier and more aggressive with the match, and it paid off for them. And they take that one 3-0.